Hey, Mr. J, thanks for the luck. I appreciate it. Hey, and Ben, thank you very much for the luck, good sir. You had yourself a nice weekend. So plan for tonight's stream's the same as last weekend. We're gonna do 2 attempts. If the first attempt is not on PB pace after the Bejeweled City, then I'm not gonna finish it just to save the 10 to 15 minutes for going again. In a casual playthrough, I'd recommend doing all 3 of them, because you do not have to commit to one of the major storylines, like in Trials of Mana. You can do all 3 of them in the same file. By accident. Thank you very much, good sir. Hey, Crimson Jay, thank you, thank you. I think $30 is a bad deal, but I've seen it go on sale on Steam for like 20. So the HD remaster came out. If 20 sounds more reasonable to you, you could certainly wait for a sale if that comes around again. Up and down movement there in order to get Niccolo to approach the cutscene trigger faster. Nice 1 second gold to start things off. Might be somewhat due to getting enough money drops from the fights to actually be able to afford the 300 lucre payment from at the end. Super common. Yeah, I like to say this is one of the best looking and sounding games on the PlayStation 1. And I think even the original PS1 version still holds up pretty well too. Although for playing this game nowadays, I would recommend the HD remaster. Both for being more accessible on modern hardware and having some nice quality of life improvements. Yeah, I haven't actually played any Mana series games after this one that are not remakes of older games. But I have heard that all of the original Mana games, like in the PS2 and DS, aren't particularly good. I think Breath of Fire 5 is a bit underrated. I appreciate that it does things that just no other JRPG really did before or since, as far as making kind of a survival RPG. I certainly get that there's valid reasons to dislike it because of how different it is from its predecessors. But I always have a lot of respect for kind of established series trying out new things, even if they're not always successful. Thanks for the luck, JPO. Yeah, Breath of Fire 3 is actually the only Breath of Fire I've never finished, but I definitely get the impression it's got the kind of most fun and well-developed fishing minigame of the series. Not really, Mystery J. Mostly just because I believe it's Switch only, and I don't have a Switch or plans to get one. Definitely curious to see how other people like it, though. And also just my interest in tactical RPGs isn't quite what it used to be, too. Though I do still want to give the Disgaea series a chance sometime. Yeah, that's a pretty strange name for a video game. I haven't really paid much attention to like trailers or demos or anything for it. Is there like an in-game reason why it's called Triangle Strategy, or is that not known yet? If that's the case. How much I practice between runs just kind of depends on the game I'm running and just how much practice I feel like I need. Like, when I was running Mystic Quest, I did very, very little practice between runs. I just didn't really feel like I needed it that much, but for this game, I usually do a little bit of practice between streams. Like I'll oops. mistake I haven't made in a long time. Hey, Lemur, thanks for the luck. Congrats on the sub 2 hour remaster too. I can't believe I did that. I don't know if I've ever actually fought that thing before. When I was running games like Final Fantasy IV and Chrono Trigger, I did a lot more practice between runs just because those games have just a lot more. This is. I was on Nicola's business too already. Be a pretty stinky split. But yeah, like Chrono Trigger has a lot of precise enemy skips all throughout the game. So if I'm running that, I'll usually practice some of the more difficult bits of movement throughout the run. Like Final Fantasy IV has some pretty complex boss fights. Rip through a bunch of save states to practice those. Also, how was that only a 12-second loss? That was not a segment. Oh yeah, I highly recommend Radiant Historia. I've only played the original DS version, but I've heard the 3DS remake is just as fine. I had to sell literally everything. I didn't have to de-equip stuff to sell. Yeah, I'd love to see Radiant Historia get some kind of console port. If you need any more incentive to play it too, the soundtrack is by the same woman that did the soundtrack to this game, Yoko Shimomura. Due to being a handheld game, there isn't quite as much music as in a console game, but all the music that there is quite good. It's a time travel RPG, kind of like Chrono Trigger, but also a bit different in how it's structured. It's a little more like Chrono Cross in that regard, in that it's about kind of two parallel timelines that you can jump back and forth between. I've never speedrun Live Alive, but I streamed a full casual playthrough of it a couple years ago. Yeah, I definitely recommend it. If for no other reason than that it's got just such amazing atmospheres, music, and storytelling. And by the end of my playthrough, I still never really felt like I understood the combat system that well, but that didn't really diminish my enjoyment of the game that much, as far as just how good a job it did at making all of the different character stories feel like different worlds. Yeah, yeah. Also, yeah. What invents it? I'm more just talking about the original game with the English patch. I mean, it's a really high quality English patch, and it does something that I was a little sad to see this not present in the screenshots of the remake, which was to have a different font for each story. Like, that was something that wasn't in the original Japanese SNES version that got added to the through the translation patch that I thought improved the game as a whole. Nice boss there. Ironically, how good or bad that that boss fight, if you even want to call it that, is more about how fast you can collect the drops from the enemies than about the actual fight, because you're just gonna one-shot all of them. Special attack. But if all of them drop coins, then that makes it take longer to actually end the fight. Hey, Plabo. Thanks for the luck. This is the first dungeon area for the Jumi storyline, but we're not actually going to be starting the quest here yet. We're just popping in and out in order to set up being able to skip a couple fights in the next dungeon that we are doing. Really like the design of this gate, just for this being kind of just a throwaway entryway screen too. I like the ravens and the moons kind of adorning the gate. Hey, Zyphir, welcome in. Decided to take my input. Forget the menu this time. Let's get in the habit of doing that menu when I'm at the Tower of Lyris to make sure it happens. Going to the Tower of Lyris first activates these affectionately known as boinks that are fast travel within certain dungeons. we met El Azul already at the tavern, but first real introduction to Pearl is the other main Jumi storyline character. Pearl has very deep pockets filled with artifacts that she gets periodically to throughout these quests. No, this is not a hundo. This is the longest of the single storyline categories, which there are 3, but a real 100% all quests run would be about 6.5, 7 hours. Yes, you can, yeah. You only have, in order to actually beat the game, you only need to finish one of the 3 major storylines and have placed 18 artifacts in the overworld, which is why most speedruns of this game are pretty short as far as PlayStation 1 RPG standards. Yeah, for a casual playthrough of this game, though, I would recommend doing all of the storylines and side quests and that sort of thing. Thanks, MP King. Once I'm happy with my times at all of the shorter categories, I might try out the all storylines category as a send-off to the game before moving on to something else, but that's about a 4-hour run or so on this version of the game at least. Because all storylines just means doing the Dragon, Fairy, and Jumi storylines in one run. It doesn't require doing all of the quests, of which there's 68 total. Run is just not, other than the gold at the start, this run has just not been great so far. Or kind of officially getting into warm-up territory. Hey, Nesty, hey, Gunder Road. If anyone hasn't played this game but has played Trials of Mana or Second and Sense of Freeze, say hi to Full Metal Haggard, the first boss from that game. Yeah, special techniques do pretty good damage if you can actually hit with them, which is a kind of an unfortunate challenge factor with how the combat system in this game works, because whenever you do special attack, you've got a kind of a wind-up animation before you actually do it, and it's very, very, very easy for your intended target to just walk away and you miss completely. That's why in speedruns, if you use a special technique on a boss, it's almost always going to be in response to them using one on you, just because that gives you kind of a predictable window to actually hit with yours. And you can also time it so that your wind-up animation is happening when the boss is invincible, because of doing its own special attack. There's some regular encounters too, usually with 3 packs of enemies, where it's more efficient to do an AoE special attack. Like, if anyone's familiar with Chopin hoods, which are a recurring monster in the Mana series, almost all encounters with Chopin hoods and speedruns involve using a special attack, just because they're pretty tanky in this game. Hey Zoran, thanks for the... Yeah, Jumi is my favorite storyline casually. I think it's got the most interesting characters and lore. Not my favorite speedrun, just because having a lot of lore translates into just a lot of text mashing, but it's got some... This Jumi storyline run does have some pretty redeeming factors too, despite there being a lot of downtime. Got some pretty unique combat strategies that you don't really see anywhere else, and there's some tension too, since this is really the only speedrun category where it's fairly easy to die to bosses too. Yeah, we haven't actually really started the Jumi storyline yet, outside of doing the Lost Princess quest. What we're doing now is just kind of getting some artifacts set up to kind of unlock prerequisites for future Jumi-related quests, then also setting up being able to buy a really nice weapon, the gold hammer. at least this quest went pretty well. Stakes. So we just solved a ghost mystery. Now it's time to sell some lamps to bears. Yeah, the artifact placement matters quite a bit. Like in order to, the placement up through this point has been about setting it up so that I can buy gold weaponry in this town's shop. Doing that without having really done a whole lot of other quests takes a fair bit of planning. But yeah, kind of the short version is that every land that you create by placing down an artifact has a level associated with that, and that level is tied to the order that you put them down on and how far away from your house they are. The further away, the later in the sequence it is, and the further your house, the higher the level. And if it's a town, the level affects what you can buy at the shop there. And if it's a dungeon, it affects the stats of the enemies and bosses there. Speedruns, aside from leveling up shops so that we can buy good stuff, we're also trying to kind of level down dungeons that have a lot of combat in them. Like when I create the Bejeweled City, the final dungeon of the storyline, I'm going to put it right next to my house. Level it down as much as possible. So it might help if I actually talk to that bear. Yeah, I know the well, I don't know. I know there's some recommended spots for going for 100%, although I don't know if it's super restrictive how many of them there are. Wouldn't surprise me if there's only 2. Yeah, getting true 100% in this game is very, very rough without like a guide or walkthrough. You can never get permanently locked out of any of the major storylines, but there are side quests that are unfortunately fairly easy to miss. Yeah, it's another good point from him, Lemur. Lands also have mana levels associated with them, which affect combat in certain ways, and I know they have subtle effects on other things too, like monster recruitment, which is something we don't do at all in this category. But in the dragon storyline, you have to recruit a monster in order to enter the Bone Fortress. And the routes for that category do the land placements in order to set up being able to recruit either a tomato man or a goblin, depending on which route you're doing. Yeah. But I mean, both casually and into speedrun, this is kind of a odd quest. No, I haven't played any of the Pixel remasters yet. Probably will at some point, but just the fact that they don't have any new content added, and I've already played all of the games through other means already, just doesn't have them very high on my to-do list. I've certainly enjoyed listening to the soundtracks for them on YouTube and watching playthroughs and speedruns by my buddies, though. I mean, from what I've seen, I feel like the pixel remasters of the NES Final Fantasy games are look a lot nicer than the Super Nintendo ones, just because they represent kind of an actual graphical upgrade. Oops. Mashing there. Really need to get a better handle on what the last text box in that conversation actually is, because I always keep forgetting. I probably lost a good like 10 plus seconds there just from extra dialogue. Maybe someday. A game I absolutely adored playing casually. Oh yeah, same. Mouse of Nim. One of the first games that I played with a fan translation back in the day. Nothing else, I'm certainly starting to feel somewhat comfortable getting through this tower without a map. There you get cooped. Okay. Screen transition didn't seem to want to trigger. Time to fight our first of 7 jewel beasts. I consider this to be probably the hardest of the 7, just because of the position that it spawns in, being very awkward. Hey, the Ellison, thank you, thank you. Charged me, but otherwise that was alright. Even though we're literally fighting the same boss 7 times, I think it's one of the more interesting boss fights in the game too, just because it's very reactionary, based on trying to read what the Jewel Beast's AI is doing, making quick decisions on whether you want to do normal power attacks or try to set up counter strikes. Surprised I lost time, given some kind of rough fights in the tower. Just entering my house and then immediately leaving in order to be able to start the next Jumi quest. There's a couple of them that require cleanly leaving your house in order to be able to activate the next Jumi mission. I believe in this case, in order for Elazul to be at the tavern to activate the Lucky Clover, you have to do a clean exit of your house. Oh yeah, I guess that last split also included the dashing mistake I made in the desert too. Some extra movement here to set up entering Geo Triad's Day. This game has a day of the week system that isn't terribly relevant for speedruns, except for this specific quest here. Most of the story triggers for the Lucky Clover are available in certain days of the week. And if the music to this town as it gives you a strong resemblance to Super Mario RPG's Mushroom Kingdom. It's because it was written by the same composer. There's actually quite a few quests for the Jumi storyline that involve coming here, like at least 4, I want to say. And pretty much all of the time you spend here is for cutscenes and fetch quests. There's one boss I want us that you fight here. Most of these story events are only available on certain days. I'm just staying at the inn in order to pass time. Appreciate how the days of the week are named after the mana spirits. Here, I believe we're just staying at the inn in order to get back out to the city map a bit faster than walking. Like the day of the week matters anymore. Hey, Glistic, welcome in. Do you agree with some other runners' assessments, though, that the true boss here is the geometry of the GeoCity map, because it's very, very easy to bonk on corners and get stuck. Alright, nice. Probably killed it a few seconds faster if I'd have just gone for a counter-strike once it was at low enough health to kill, but it's kind of still in the groove of alternating between power hits and counter-strikes. Yeah, good fight. Again, jewel-based fights are very reactionary. Your biggest source of damage is counter-striking, but you also want, if they're not giving you a good pattern for counter-striking, you still want to be doing damage. Ooh, nice goal. not messing up any of the story triggers, plus having a good Jewel Beast fight translates into a bit of time saved there. If you've only played Secret of Mana, I would at bare minimum recommend playing Trials of Mana as well. A newish remake of that is really, really good. I would also recommend this game and Adventures of Mana, the remake of the first Mana game, although that's a little harder to play nowadays because it was only released on mobile phone and PlayStation Vita. Yeah, Trials is Seiken Densetsu 3. Seiken Densetsu just means Mana, the Mana series. It's the Japanese name for the series, which means Legend of the Holy Sword. Okay, don't talk to the duck this time. It's a mistake I made last week. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Chrono Cross remaster. I'm not expecting I'm not honestly expecting it to be quite as good as like the remaster of this game or of Saga Frontier, just from what I've seen and read, but just being able to get Chrono Cross for $20 on modern platforms, I think, is well worth it. Not as good as the second one, but it was still solid. It's from watching other runs too, and how my own practice has gone too. If you're done with the fight before the music even really gets going in earnest, I think that's definitely a fast fight. That one, the music kind of kicked in right. I got the final hit. Well, I guess speaking as far as the 6 fights that use the Darkness Nova boss theme, the second one uses Pain the Universe instead for some reason. So now we get to climb some stairs in order to get Elzul to get the next quest. What? Well, I mean, the FF6 Pixel Remaster isn't out yet, so I doubt there's any information to be found about speedrunning it yet, but an FF6 Discord server that I'm sure will be pretty active as far as routing Pixel Remaster once it does come out. Like with most of the other Pixel remasters, the main thing I'm looking forward to is the soundtrack, because there's never actually been a port or remake or anything of FF6 before that's actually had a remastered soundtrack. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, not like there's any really accessible ways to play the Super Nintendo version in PAL regions. Yeah, PS1 port is not particularly good. I mean, it's better than nothing, but it's got some pretty bad loading times. Here's where you get to pick who the boss of this quest is. If you pick the first option, it's Black Pearl, and the second option is Elazul. If you fight Elazul, the actual fight is a hair faster, but you have a much longer cutscene afterwards, so we fight Black Pearl. Yep, I do appreciate how Square Enix's social media has been actively reassuring that be able to suplex the train. Well, a little annoyed now that the start of this run was so sloppy, given that nice lead built up. A clean exit from my house in order to set up being able to start Alex. Hey, Brood VX, thanks for the luck. Yeah, the start of this run was really bad, actually, but it's been going a lot better in the mid game. Yes. That's one of the signs of being a true speedrunner, though, is kind of only focusing on what could be better instead of taking pride in what is going well. Took out Lisa pretty fast, at least, but Bud was kind of... Hey, Emerald Sword, welcome in. Oh, and then for the, if you're wondering why I'm going back in here, it's because when there's a cutscene where there's a note dropped on the overworld to tell you where to go next, the game forces you to re-enter the last area that you came from. My just best theory on why that is that that doing that cutscene on the world map kind of messes up like memory values or something in a way that the game just kind of needs to do a clean reload of the map in order to Oh, it doesn't do that in the Japanese version. Not super familiar with version differences, other than that, enemies in the Japanese PSX version have way more health, especially bosses, and your weapons have better stats. Hey, Core Agenda, thanks for the look. As I understand it too, the bug with the in the post-Dragon storyline cutscene where there's like 3 text boxes that don't auto-scroll, that's not in the Japanese PSX version either. Making my own runs, what do I consider priorities? For deciding what games I'm gonna run, or for like routing a game that I haven't run before? I wouldn't really say I have kind of uniform standards as far as picking games to run. It's for the most, like, by and large, it's usually games that I played as in childhood and young adulthood that I've got nostalgia for. But there's just a lot of other cases too where it just looks like a fun challenge. Because I mean, that's in the end what I largely view speedrunning, for me at least, is a way to challenge myself with games that I enjoy playing. I guess as far as routing type stuff, something that makes games more attractive to me in that regard is just like that there being other resources already that I can draw upon. If there's if other people have done runs like with like different categories or rule sets already, nice. Those are very, very nice resources. If there's like wikis or FAQs or whatever that have good information about game mechanics and stats and stuff, that's what I'd consider a useful resource. For the most part, no. For the most part, my Mystic Quest route just came from watching old any percent runs before the shop glitch was discovered. But there were I did make some tweaks of my own too, as far as applying newer strats and stuff that wasn't known as of I think 2014 or so was. I was able to find that didn't use the map glitch. Someday I might dabble in Chrono Cross. The fact that there's a remaster coming out and it feels pretty likely to me that it's going to be faster to speedrun because of loading times, that might make it more likely to happen too. One of the big things that was kind of holding me back from wanting to pursue speedrunning Chrono Cross is just the length. It's a bit on the long side, kind of relative to how much I like the game and how much fun the speedrun looks, but let's see. Like another game that I have that exact same opinion on is Final Fantasy X. I'm a big fan of the game, and the speedrun for that is really cool, but it's at least on the PlayStation 2 version, it's 10 hours plus, and that's just a bit too much relative to how much I like it. Hey, Shantak, evenings here. Yeah, it's been quite a while, but I ran FF5 mostly in 2013. I was the first Westerner to do RTAs of FF5. Like beforehand, there was a segmented run on Speed Demo's archive. No one had ever run it single segment before. Yeah, I basically I routed that mostly based on videos of Japanese RTAs that I found on Nico Nico, along with just some stuff that I picked up from Segmented Run and other FAQ type resources. Yeah, I mean it looks like a very hard run now because of step routing, but back when I ran it, we did not understand encounters in the game to be able to do step routing, so that just wasn't a thing at all. Of the three, I should say of Final Fantasy 4 through 6, 5 definitely looks like it is the hardest step route. Yeah, I know the there's been some route innovations in the past couple of years that make it a easier and more consistent run overall. Like the main difficulty just really seems to be in the movement, because you have to have really accurate movement while dashing. I mean, FF4 has the movement is very precise too, but you can't dash, so it's a lot easier to do it without mistakes. Yeah, FF5 is definitely a pretty cool run. I like how it's... I mean, there's glitches that are definitely taken advantage of, but by and large, the run is just kind of about just using just broken combinations within the job system. Oh yeah, agreed. Super handy. Like when I've run Chrono Trigger, that's been one of the most kind of fun parts of running it at a high level, is just zipping through all the dungeons and avoiding all of the skippable encounters cleanly. Oh, nice. Yeah, Goof Troop looks like a pretty cool run too, especially if it's two-player co-op. Hey, nice. My tweaks I made for my my bot to try to ban spam bots appear to be working. Yeah, at least for glitchless Chrono Trigger, I'll be pretty surprised if RNG Manip ever really kind of takes off in a big way outside of just like as a curiosity, just because you just don't need to really manipulate it if you're glitchless in order to have consistency and the like. Yeah, he's the only guy I'm familiar with that seems to be interested in 100% glitchless with full manip. I mean, I have a manip route for 100% glitchless that I did a run of for questing for glory last year, but it's one of those things that I find more fun to route and figure out than to actually do runs with it. Definitely not the case for glitched Chrono Trigger runs, though. I think those are when you're using strategies that are 100% impossible without using manipulation. That makes it a lot more fun to do. Yeah, if you take a really good look at that boss, it looks even more disturbing just because you can see kind of a humanoid body that's part of its tail. I don't know if this actually comes from the game anywhere, but I know I read somewhere that the jewel beasts are kind of thought of as Jumis that have been corrupted and turned into. So definitely on pace for a nice PB at this point, although not quite my goal time. I think I definitely need a run that has a better, just like half hour or so. 15. I don't think I really have a ton of time to save in the rest. Oh yeah. I'm definitely pretty excited that Radical Dreamers is get a re-release, because I mean, as I understand it, even like Japanese gamers don't have a means of playing Radical Dreamers anymore, just given that it was a Satellaview game. Yeah, it's something I haven't actually played it myself, and it was one of those things where I kept meaning to get around to it eventually, but now I'm definitely just going to hold off until the Chrono Cross remaster comes out. Anyone not familiar with Radical Dreamers, it's it's kind of more like a visual novel than an RPG, but it's kind of like a prologue to Chrono Cross. It's got some pretty sick arrangements, some pretty sick music in it that I've heard too, that a lot of which was later rearranged into the Chrono Cross soundtrack. Yeah, I am. I can't help but be a little surprised though that Chrono Cross is getting console releases before Chrono Trigger. Like, it would feel pretty low effort to me to port the PC version of Chrono Trigger onto like the Switch and PS4 and stuff. But all the Chrono games are available on modern platforms. But something I am fond of saying though is that what I would like to see more than really any kind of remakes or remasters of Chrono Trigger and Cross would be a new Chrono series game. Yeah, I could see that, Carbon Drink. Alright, so we're off the final Jumi quest here. It's complete, we will have the ability to beat the game. Theory unfortunately has a pretty significant amount of RNG to it, because there's 3 gate puzzles based on collecting these gems. And the specific gems that you need for each gate are random, and you also have to recollect gems because you don't get back the gems you use on each gate. But in addition to just how long it takes to open each gate, there's also random amounts of backtracking that you have to. Yeah, like I know I've posted on Twitter before that, I mean, I was kind of disappointed that the Chrono series didn't become kind of a small franchise like Mana, where there's like a nice little handful of like 5 or so games released every couple years that have common like visual and stylistic elements, but each game is a unique story in a unique world. Making this easy. Alright, that was pretty bad. Mostly outside my control, though, between the patterns that the Jewel Beast was giving me and then what Elzul was doing, too. Kept hitting it in the back and interrupting it attacks that I could counter-strike. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. Super handy. I mean, I think kind of the ship is largely sailed on that. What I would have kind of liked to have seen was like if they were going to make more Chrono games, to start doing it like in the PlayStation 1, GBA or something. I'm sure there could be more time travel or dimension travel stories that you could do. Okay, first try. Unfortunately, the red and blue gems are spaced far enough apart that I pretty much have to make a full loop around the first layer here. Well, I mean, I would say just break away from the Lavos story completely and just do something completely new and original that still has like time or dimension travel kind of as the core of the story, and then still have like news and Specchio and stuff like that to still make it kind of feel like a Chrono game. Yeah, that's a pretty good analogy, yeah. I've only actually played one Persona game in full, Persona 4. I mean, is Igor in all Persona games, or is it just the Velvet Room? I can't say I know too many people that have played Persona 1 or 2 that aren't mega hardcore series. Way before it got any real popularity in the West. I have Persona 5, although I get very far before getting distracted by Final Fantasy VII Remake and Trials of Mana HD, and then just going back to it. Elzol did it again. Better. Still not great, but it's faster than the first one. Again, we have to get the red and blue. Oh yeah, I 100% agree. Super handy. I think this game has a really kind of storybook type art style, kind of like in 90s era adventure games. I think it pairs really well with the kind of cartoonish art style for the monsters that the game inherited from the previous Mana games. Yeah, yeah, Ruby and Sapphire mean having to make a full loop around the first layer. Yeah, nice to get pretty good luck with solving the puzzles, but I guess I feel like the RNG with how much backtracking you have to do ends up impacting your time more than the puzzle solutions. very, very much likely to lose some time on this bit. Still be on 16 pace though. Back with the blades, Mr. Golem. Oh, is that what the first soldier is? Heard of that, but I guess I wasn't familiar with Crisis Core Remake and the name at least. Alright, 7th and final Jewel Beast. Almost had a really fast one, and then it had to use a special attack. Ever Crisis, I somehow have not heard of that before. That like a mobile game, or is it actually getting like just on consoles and PC? I do have to watch this cutscene in order to be able to open this. That's my understanding too. The biggest reason why Crisis Core has never really gotten much love is because of the voice actor for, especially the Japanese voice actor. So. that was slow. This is the much more random phase of the Lord of Jewels fight, though. The second one's consistent. If anything, it's what Elzul does during the Lord of Jewels 1000 fight coming up here that matters more than the boss itself. Alright, that was really good. Alright, so then after you finish one of the main storylines, you get a couple minutes of scene with auto-scrolling text, so it's a nice little... This is my favorite ending for one of the major storylines, too, because it's really the only one that has a mostly happy ending. Some pretty gorgeous artwork with the aurora. This cutscene here with Bud and Lisa is why I had to go fight them earlier in the run, too, even though they're technically a side quest. The developers decided to just make getting Bud and Lisa a requirement to beat the Jumi storyline instead of programming a variation on this cutscene that doesn't have them there. Alright, so once we're done here, then the end game opens up and finish the game. Once that's happened, and kick off another run. Although if the second run falls apart, like not somewhere not fairly close to the beginning, I might not finish it, given that I did get a full run completion in tonight, but we'll see. See what I feel. Time in the whole game your character speaks. Alright, thanks Mouse of Nim. Enjoy the dinner and thanks for stopping by. And I'm gonna gain time here, despite kind of rough luck on the jewel puzzles, okay. I guess I must have. Oh yeah, and a pretty rough golem fight on in the diamond room too. That time save must have just come from better other fights in the Vigilant City, because you feel that fast overall. Yeah, in some ways, like, I kind of feel like this game's soundtrack is better liked than the game itself. Yep. At least they had the courtesy to ask. Among the mana games too, I do also find it kind of funny just how few of them the Sword of Mana is actually a weapon that you fight evil with. about this game in Trials of Mana. It's just a plot point rather than an actual weapon. Yep. Let's get us a nice, comfy 216 PB. Going again afterwards, see if we can do. My goal right now for this category is a 215. This run had a better start. This definitely could have been it. Made some fairly significant mistakes in the earlier parts of the run. Got by Mario the Basilisk. Yeah, that was a chocobo. Sadly. You can actually get pet chocobos through the pet system that isn't touched in this category, but is in some others. And if you have a Final Fantasy VIII save file on your memory card, at least on the PS1 version, you can get a pet chocobo just by doing the that system tutorial. You'd get a rabbite. Happens. Two enemies gang up on me basically and ruin my Counter-Strike setup. Really just not go for it if the Basilisk is giving me a pattern like that. Yep. Those yaks are rough too. Like in the fairy storyline, you have to fight quite a few of them in one of the very specific dungeons. Each one is just can be pretty rough depending on if it how many times it decides to charge at you. Final boss. After the epic 2-form fight with the Lord of Jewels, I think the final fight with the Mana Goddess is a little underwhelming by comparison, but at least it looks and sounds great, though. It just feels like there should have been a second form of some kind. It's a bit bigger and more epic. GG. And I still save time despite some not too good things happening in the mana tree, like a bad screen transition and a bad yak fight, but we did it! Nice PB. It's the GG's, everybody. Goal's 215 though, and I'm gonna keep going for that. As soon as we watch the ending and check the in-game time, it'll be time to go again. So yeah, like you probably heard some of the salt. That yeah, the start of this run was just not great. Just a lot of just mistakes here and there that held this back from being a 215. Got some nice fat golds in the Brown Dreams and the Lucky Clover just from better movement and stuff. Yeah, I lost a lot on the Looking Glass Tower mainly just because of too much triggering some extra dialogue with Cathinja in the desert because it's too long. A couple slow fights in the tower too. Not really too much in the rest of the run really kind of jumping out in my memory though. I mean, like the jewel-based fights were all either okay or good. Like none of them were train wrecks. Lord of Jewels 999, the first form was a jerk. Second form was pretty good. Yeah, I guess the road to 215 is really just going to mostly come from having a better first hour of the run, and then holding on to it from there. I got little time saves I can squeak out here and there just from just playing better for the most part, and getting luckier, but like most of the more significant time saves are going to be on. A little disappointing that there aren't any subtitles for the song, either in this or the HD remaster, just because it's in Swedish, and I read a translation once, and the lyrics are very topical as far as being about being reborn. It's kind of what the ending is about, the mana tree being reborn. Thanks to the GG, Zenos. Yeah, this is in Swedish. I want to say that it's in Swedish because Yoko Shimomura had a very specific Swedish singer in mind to sing the song. Not 100% on that though. Annika, I think her name is. Ika. Hey Rishi, well I'm gonna be going again after we're done with the credits, so we'll be doing it again even faster. Yeah, against these splits, yeah, the most significant time saves are in the first hour or so. Not really so much, I'd say, from like the Lost Princess on through Fairy's Light, especially because Drowned Dreams and Fairy's Light are just running around and talking. But first half hour and then the Looking Glass Tower, I'd say, are the parts of the run with the most time to save. Hey, Accident, thank you. We're gonna be going again after we wrap this up, though. Is one very nice thing about two-ish or hour or less runs is being able to do multiple runs in the stream.